Welcome to the Aurora Mindset, a podcast helping leaders find clarity and focus on what matters most. I'm your host, Peter Brandenburger. Today, I want to challenge a common goal and focus for leaders: balance. I would suggest that balance is not obtainable, but the goal should be more of a dynamic and rhythmic approach to this that I call counterbalance. So to me, balance is much more of a static equilibrium state where everything that you're working on and involved in your life is in this static balance. And in a dynamic world, in a world that is increasingly becoming dynamic and more difficult to predict, I don't think this is the right skill. And this is the right mindset. And if you have an illusion of balance, this can create some stress. You may be knocked off your balance and not prepared for what's coming. The balance mindset is one that you're trying to have a foot here and there, so that you're wanting that balance and you're seeking that. That takes a lot of energy. Think of a tightrope walker and all the energy they're putting to stay on top of that tightrope. And if you as a leader, you're trying to constantly balance that, that can drain your leadership. Real leadership is much more fluid and the energy and focus shifts constantly. Counterbalance is an intentional shifting of focus and energy. Over time, you cover things, but you're very focused and a lot of energy in one area. And then you dynamically move to counterbalance. The metaphor I think about is a bird flying. As they're flying, they're constantly adjusting their feathers and their flight, and a gust of wind comes and they move a little bit. They're constantly adjusting, and it's much more with grace. When you need to prioritize a team during a crisis and how you can support what they need, it could also be stepping back for either family or recovering for yourself, taking some time. It also could be doubling down on innovation or a focus that is needed within your team. Like if you need 80% of your effort into some new area, even though that's not what most of the team is focused on. This is a great example of a dynamic counterbalance to go push the organization in a new direction by spending 80% of your time, even though they're still spending 80 or maybe more percent of their time in different areas. This can really help shift. And then you can come back and look at what's going on. Counterbalance to me is not neglect. It's a responsive leadership. It's something that allows you to be more dynamic and agile to what is coming your way. How do you practice counterbalance? As I stated with the bird analogy, it's much more of a rhythm and movement. It's not static. But I'd see there's kind of two pieces to this. There's a leaning in and doing it, letting go and being in it, and being really focused on what is drawing your attention, and then recover and return and revisit the neglected areas and the other aspects in your life. And then you would repeat that. So you move back and forth. And this can be very, this rhythm doesn't have the same cadence. You move in and you spend a lot of time and then come out for a little time. Or you could do the opposite where you come in, come out, and it can vary. One example I can share is as a leader during COVID and helping the team through it. There was obviously a focus on our team health, the physical, and a much more mental impact that this was having. And spending the time both from an individual perspective and as a team perspective. A few questions that you may want to ask while you're thinking about counterbalance and how to move in this rhythm. One is, where's your focus and what's pulling on you? What's needing you most right now? So it's really a priority and focus question. And then what are you deprioritizing? What are you leaving behind? And then as you're in that, or when you're all in, are you being pulled in a new direction? And equally important is it time to shift? And while that's important is you'll feel like you should be pulled in different directions because there's other things that could use your attention. But is it time to shift? Is an interesting one of, have I spent enough time to create that counterbalance and then I can move out into another area? Shifting in a purposeful manner is a leadership strength, not a flaw. I think balance is something that is a false hope and narrative of leaders. And once you embrace the rhythm of recovery and focus and bring those reflections into your leadership and those practices, that can really help you to be much more of a dynamic and purposeful leader. Don't strive for balance in a world that's increasingly difficult to get that balance. It's also difficult to predict what's going to happen. So embrace the rhythm, be ready for what may push you off balance, and embrace counterbalance. What is your counterbalance right now? Think about that. Thank you for listening today. If you found this useful and would like to share with somebody, I encourage you to please do that. And until next time, embrace your roar, shift your mindset, and lead with what matters.